Hey, what's up, good people? Welcome to the FiredUp KC show. I'm your host, Zeke Wanga, and today with me, I bring another top leader from Kansas City. This man is an entrepreneur. He's also into insurance, he's into coffee, he's into music, he's into yoga. He's pretty much doing it all. So please help me make welcome. He is the owner of Kingship Cafe. Make welcome Mr. TJ Roberts on the show. How you doing, sir?
Hey, what's up,
Looking
bro?
good, looking energetic. Man,
you.
great to have you on the show. I've been seeing your articles blowing up on Scotland News and all news platforms from Kansas City, man.
Yeah.
Can let people know who is TJ Roberts? Just a brief way about yourself.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for having me.
Thank you for
I think
coming.
It's awesome that you're creating this platform and putting other people on it and just helping us get recognized. I appreciate
100%.
that. But I think, I was born here in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
And so I was adopted like when I was 2.
Okay.
And like I think the best bio or short version of like how to describe who I am is just like if you find me on Facebook.
Yes.
Like it just says like the most dope biracial 7-fingered kid you ever meet. You know, that's who I am. That probably defines me in a nutshell the best way. Just based off of the things I've gotten to do and experience.
Yes.
But going back, like I was adopted at 2 and then was raised in Wamego, Kansas, and it's about 1,500 people. And I was first, I always tell people, I was one of the first black people to graduate from my high school.
Yes.
And also like I grew up on a farm, that was my reality. So, I threw hay bales, I did lots of hard work, played outside all the time, but a lot of my good childhood memories come from living on a farm.
Exactly. Man, it's your energy, because I've gone through. I'm not a stalker, but I do my research, right? But I've gone through just your page and seen what you've been able to accomplish. From playing football to being able to go into learning business and having a whole insurance company to now having Kingship Cafe. And now you guys are trying to collaborate with
so many people.
Daniel Smith, right?
Yeah,
with
Dan
what you guys are
Smith,
doing.
Porterhouse and,
But what was it like growing up in Kansas City? Because when I saw 7-fingered, I didn't know what that means. Because your energy is so
full,
that I didn't even understand what that means. So because I know that is a part of your life that you probably had to learn to grow in as a kid, because I know kids are bullies and stuff like that. Can I give us a little bit of story about that?
Yeah, I mean, man, I don't know how long we got, but from crabby to crab boy to being made fun of for having 7 fingers, that was a pretty normal thing in my lifetime. I remember being in recess, everybody. You stand in the line trying to get picked out. On the football team, you got A and B, and you're the last kid getting picked.
Wow.
But it wasn't until I really started to find that competitiveness and that drive, and by 4th, 5th grade, I was always one to be picked last, but I would be scoring the most touchdowns, or I was the fastest kid on the field, and so forth. And then I translated to basketball and all these other things. So, my first sport, believe it or not, was soccer, which you had.
Yeah, I played soccer.
So
Yes.
That was my first sport, and I think as a child, when you're growing up, I think soccer is a great sport to get your kid into, because of the way it allows their hips to move and their eyes to see without their hands.
Yes.
And that, coordination. So I learned that really quickly through soccer, and then that gravitated to football and basketball and track and different things. And where I was going to at school, we could play any sport we wanted to play. So baseball and track in Kansas are in the same season, but I could play both.
Wow.
So I was a starting varsity baseball player, and if we had a team game that was during a track meet, I had to pick the team over myself.
Wow.
And so just little things that kept me always busy, but there was principle behind it and a learning lesson. So I think sports for me was a big experience to learn a lot of things, overcome a lot of things. I was, like I said, the only black person at my school, so I get tackled and have people pinch between my legs and try to stick their fingers in places they shouldn't, and call me names. And I had a ref call me the year before, and I had other coaches call me nigger, and other players call me nigger, and I had teammates that were my friends that would call me nigger, and so like that was a lot of my environment. So I was a really, honestly, like I was pretty angry. I was an angry kid because I was going home in a white household and I didn't have a lot to talk, to and to open up with, and so a large part of my early like childhood with up to probably my junior year in high school, I was pretty angry. Like I got in a lot of fights, and I had this chip on my shoulder. and people didn't like me. I remember like there was a booster, a superintendent who didn't like me because I started over his son that played sports. And I remember so my junior year I kind of grew out of that a little bit. And I think I started taking more responsibility over just my culture, my history, just who am I, what am I, that whole thing. And I started really searching really young. And I was working and going to school, getting good grades and doing, sports and earning awards and stuff like that. But I always knew that I was never gonna stay there. That was never the plan to stay there. And I didn't need them to go to where I needed to go. And so I've never asked for help from like back home. Like that's not it's not there to be asked, and it's okay. But at the same time, like I've moved on, and I've moved forward. And so with me, like I remember get to my senior year, and my coach, he called me up and he was like, hey, come up here with your dad on the weekend. And I was like, man, this is we ain't we haven't started the season yet. It's summertime at this point, and I'm just like, this is kind of weird. And I get there, and he has me sit down, and he points to this like drawer in his desk. He says, grab that sack in there. And I go and I grab this sack, and I go and hand it to him, and he pulls it out, and it's these letters and just hate mail, just like, you play that nigger one more time, you're not going to be the head coach next year. You play him again over my son, like I'm not going to give the booster money, and just all of this and that. And he had collected that from my freshman year all the way up because I had played that long in varsity. And so he was just like, I just want you to know you're playing for something bigger than this, because of this. And, he saw the potential in me, and him and my strength coach were pivotal in my childhood to understand work ethic, along with my father. Both my parents are entrepreneurs, so seeing my dad be a boss, and have integrity, that was something that I was like, man, I want to be someone that is respected and has integrity and can be, depended upon. And so that's kind of where I started seeing, I want to be my own boss. I want to do my own thing. And, when I got out of high school, I went to Mid-America Nazarene, and I had a terrible experience with the football program there. Similar to my childhood, and stuff that was that was difficult, being there like the second day, the head coach, I show up and, you just in shells and running routes and doing things, and the head coach comes up to me and says, you didn't tell us you had 7 fingers.
Whoa.
And I was like, I didn't know I needed to.
I didn't know.
Y'all saw my film. Y'all saw me in person twice. I came up here and signed paperwork. Like, I've been coming to summer workouts. Like, what do you mean? Y'all were telling me y'all was going to be the star here and make all these moves. And the next day, man, they redshirted me. Like, they straight up were like, hey, you didn't tell us, so we're going to have to redshirt you this year.
Whoa.
And I went. That's a whole nother segment. I went into a whole downward spiral with that. Like, do I want to do school? Is school even worth it? Like, why not just go work? This is stupid. Like, I was really there for football. I had lined it all up with the girl that I was with at the time to be close with her and all this. And so it was like the rug just got pulled out from underneath me. And so I remember that I had a really hard time with depression and anxiety and just self-worth, man, just all of that. And not having family up here, that was really hard to try to battle by myself. But I had some really good people in my corner when that was all going on.
Wow.
And so
deep story.
That's when I was like, I can't stay here.
Yes,
You can't stay in this environment if you feel like you're trying to succeed and move forward.
Exactly.
Like, okay, my degree is the most important thing to me. Like, it ain't gonna be the NFL for me, And I had really good coaches like Kimball Anders, Dwayne Clemens, Anthony Davis. I mean, all these guys are former Chiefs players.
Wow.
And just stellar leaders, and they were authentic with me and were like, yo, you don't need to be here. You need to be somewhere else. This environment is not going to be safe for you. And if you here, we can't feel bad for you because we're telling you, get out,
Time to move.
And so that's when I went to K-State, and I remember like telling the Mid-America head coach, I'm going to transfer to K-State and go play football. And he laughed at me out the door. He said I wasn't going to play. He said, it's a shame you're not going to graduate, because I've seen this happen where guys leave and say they're going to try to go D1 and they don't go D1 and they just don't graduate.
Yeah.
Like, we had a hard time even having him release me to get to go to K-State to play for eligibility purposes, and it was just this whole thing. And there was a lot going on in my life. My grandma just passed away too, and there was just so many things, and I just knew like home was the best answer for me at the time. And then I got to K-State. I was like 3 weeks behind on all the classes, so I had to catch up. And then I was working for my dad, and I had this desire and fire inside me, like to prove that coach wrong.
Yes.
I grew up. My grandfather lived like half a mile from the K-State football stadium, and so I remember growing up, and I'll never forget. Like, I can even smell the burgers on the grill. But we'd play catch, and he'd have the radio on with the game playing, and we were so close, Zig, to the stadium that, when the touchdown was scored, we would hear the fans before the radio.
Whoa.
Because it was so loud at the
Yes.
stadium, man. And I remember, I'll never forget that. My grandpa told me, one day that's gonna be you, like playing at that stadium. And I was a kid, and I was like, all right, I was very excited. I was like, I want to play in the NFL. Who cares if I want to play somewhere, but I just want to play in the NFL. And to have that happen, and then here I am at 19 years old at K-State, and I have this opportunity, and I just ran with it. And so I just kept bugging the football program, and they finally were like, all right, man, you keep bugging us, we'll give you a tryout. And I gave everything. I was working out 5 in the morning, getting to class at 7. I'd be done by noon, go work for my dad, hit another workout, and I'd do that all week just to get ready for this tryout.
Wow.
And I did some soul searching. You got to sacrifice things, and you got to focus, and so got the tryout. And I remember Coach Gordon, he was giving me the tryout, and we were playing catch. And I don't know if it's still the same rule, but back when I was playing, you couldn't try out with the football. You could, if you were a quarterback, you could throw the ball, but if you were not a quarterback, you ran L drill, 40 dash, you did all these different tests to see your hips and your agility and stuff like that. That's how they try to figure out if you could play. And K-State lives on that tryout, walk-on mentality. So really, like, the stars had the line for me to really make this happen. And so I get there, and we're playing catch, and he's like, don't look behind you, but there's a whole row of black windows. That's our conference room. All the coaches are in there right now. They watching you, like, and I play catch right now.
Wow.
And I was like, dang, I'm like, everything heightens up because you like focus, dial in, don't drop anything.
Yeah, you don't want to make any mistakes.
And if they even need to throw a backup quarterback, let me go warm this arm up. I'm getting ready. I play running back, but and he just said I wanted to show them that you can catch the ball with 7 fingers. And I was just like, okay. And I was like, he's on my side. Like, he's letting me pitch. He's letting me pitch my case.
Exactly.
And he was the guy, like, when I came in, he was like, why? He saw me on the field, and he like came back, and he was like, why are you leaving there? Like, you should have been playing there. And I was like, they didn't like me because of the 7 fingers I had. The coach, I left because the coach literally said, you will not run the ball until I see that you have 10 fingers.
Wow, 10. Whoa.
Yes.
Jeez.
And that was with coaches. And that's when those coaches were like, you need to get out of here.
Wow.
We can't play you. Like, he's not going to let us.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So
Dang.
I had to make a call, right?
Decision, yes.
And so even in that decision process, you leaving behind all your friends, all your people you were with, your old teammates, everybody. Even though some of them I didn't like, most of them I didn't like.
Yeah.
Because a head coach like that, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So
Yes.
coaches called me crabby. You know, other players. I had players that didn't want me to touch them with my two hands, like with my two fingers. They would like
Are you serious?
duck and dodge. Like I would run the ball, and this one guy missed the tackle, and I remember the running joke was he missed the tackle on purpose because he didn't want to touch. I tried to stiff arm. He didn't want to get touched by my two fingers.
Whoa. Are you
So like
serious?
stuff like that was
Dang.
going on. So that was my environment there, and I was like, I have to get out.
Yeah, I gotta get out.
So that's when I was there for like a year and a half, and then that's when, you know, I left. And so I came to K-State and had this opportunity, this chance. And I was telling Gordon that, and he was just like, man, if the doctor clears you, you gonna play. And I was just like, bet. You know, and then I got this letter in the mail, you're on the team, here's your report date, here you go. And I was just like, oh my God,
Will he
man,
do it?
like, this is unreal. You know, like, I remember, like, I took pictures of it, it's on my Facebook memory. Like, it's such a shining point in my life where I, like, really bear down, focus, sacrificed a lot to make that happen. And, you know, the rest was history. I got to meet some amazing people like Jordy Nelson. You know, I played football with Tyler Lockett. So many great players. Cornelius Lucas, he's also in the NFL. Like, there's so many good teammates that I had that, like, were leaders, not just on the field, but, like, in the classroom and out and about with, you know, the students. And so, you know, I gravitated to those people and their positivity and just their level of focus. You know, those guys wanted to focus to be better than everybody else, you know, and so I was like, I want to be like that. And so that got cut a little short.
Yes.
I tore my ACL at K-State in my senior year, and so, or my junior year, but I graduated like early, and so I was like, man, do I want to go back another year and play or just go on? And I just decided to work. So I moved up to Kansas City and I started working in insurance. And I did that for a couple of years. And with one company, I did that for about a year and a half with one company. And then I was like, I want to be my own boss. Like, I was as a kid. And so at 22, I started my insurance business. And so we're rebranding right now. And, you know, the name change with Tailor Made is all kind of a value change and a you know, we have values. I have values, I should say. I have values that I stick true to, and some of the companies that I was working with over the last 6 years were not meshing with those values, and a lot of that was on Black excellence and equality. And wanting to, you know, seek after more talent to bring into the industry that are African Americans. Currently in the industry, it's probably worse now, but when I was in the industry, when I started, it was 4% of the industry was African Americans.
Whoa.
And
so
in the metro,
4%.
there's probably, I would guess, like 6,500 to 7,500 insurance agents in all of the metro, and probably like 10 do insurance that are brothers like us.
Wow.
And so, like, I saw a huge void that I was like, man, I can't fill that space by myself.
Exactly.
I want to bring other people in. And so that was my big focus, and and that is my big focus with my why in my business. You know, people ask about your why. That's my why. You know, I want to serve people and serve them and treat them the way that I would want to be treated. But number two, like, I want to invite other people into the space. It's a great business to be in. And so that was kind of my foothold there. And then I started dabbling in coffee, and coffee for me was just, as a kid, my dad was a pastor, and so he still is, I should say. And so I would show up early, and I would, you know, make coffee for the whole church. And then I was on the church band, and I played drums with Seven Fingers. But you know, yeah, and I've been playing for a long time. I've been playing since I was like 6, 7 years old. So I was self-taught that, and I've gotten to play with some amazingly talented and very gifted artists that are in the Christian music industry, which like, you know, we talked about with Donda dropping and like Drake dropped the album yesterday.
Yes.
You know, I think
Drake dropped an album yesterday. I didn't hear about it.
Yes, and I haven't gotten a chance to hear. I won't say.
Yeah, I haven't got a chance yet because I'm definitely gonna.
I've heard like half of it, but I can't say that I've heard it. So I wanna give it
I'm definitely gonna go listen to that.
Yeah, but for me, it was just like I was like looking when I was in insurance and I was seeing how that business was going. I was rookie of the year with the first company that I worked with. I was rookie of the year with the second company I was working with. And you know, now I'm on my own, and I've learned a lot from those two companies to go off and do my own. But I think for me, it was like there's not a lot of black people in this space, and so then it was like sitting that high up. Where else is there not black people? And there wasn't black people in specialty coffee, and there wasn't black people in tech. And I do a little tech thing on the side, and then there wasn't black people in like, you know, like I wasn't seeing a lot of black advocacy and men talking about emotions and talking about vulnerability and positivity and joy and those types of things. And I think those are elements that it's good to show like your strong masculine side, but I think it's even more important to show your feminine, softer side. And that's kind of the kinship concept that I have with the coffee is, you know, coffee is a unique thing that I really appreciate. It's something that you take a lot of craft in owning and trying to duplicate and create a scale and make it big enough for everybody to serve. So, but through that opportunity, you know, we're doing partnerships. The coffee shop is in KCK's downtown on 6th and Ann Street. And what's one of the cool things that I'm really excited about is really the equitable programming that we're doing.
Okay.
So the coffee hours are from 6:30 to 3 o'clock, but then from 4 to 7, we're opening the space to be a resource space for businesses like incubations to, you know, resume builders, job fairs, mock interviews, how to open up a bank account, how to set up your LLC, those types of things, but as well as like after school tutoring. You know, we're working with local schools and the Big Brothers Big Sisters, and so we're trying to, you know, open up our space to the community for them to be able to use, so that way people can come and get empowered and equipped to be able to overcome those situations in their life, just like mine, where around me was so different than what I really wanted.
Yes.
You know, and you can't control everything around you, except if you start making moves to control, you know, making those things. But you know, I think the most biggest thing for me is just like, you know, wanting to be a selfless leader in our city, and trying to challenge other people to be more selfless too in the process. You know, as people grow, I want to see them grow and collaborate and work and open their space and their doors up for others. So
dang. I mean, dang. I just want to say, toast to being your own boss and being able to, you know,
finesse.
Move from all your challenges to becoming someone who is an advocate. Because man, when I see what you're doing, I'm inspired, right? It motivates me to be like, yo, that's someone like me doing it. You know what I mean? Like having a whole coffee shop, and like you said, it's not an industry where there's a lot of black people in, right? Dive a little bit deeper into Kingship Coffee and your partnership with Drip Coffee now.
Yeah, Black Drip.
So what is that all about? And kind of give us the bigger vision of what you guys are trying to do.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. You know, Sharon Thompson is a good friend of mine, and he's also part of Porterhouse KC.
Okay.
And was helping in founding that. And when they founded and got that going, you know, he had this passion to be in the coffee space, just like me. And he went through the whole process of, I can't tell you the whole story because I'll botch it, but he actually tried roasting coffee in his own house.
Wow.
So he got a roaster, and he bought coffee beans from another country, and he tried to do it himself. And word on the street is that was like almost a year ago, and his house still smells like burnt coffee. So he you know, he gave it a shot, and but he realized, you know, this isn't his space, that's not his repertoire, and he worked on his business, and so he worked out an opportunity to work with Messenger.
Okay.
And so he outsources his beans through Messenger and has them roast the beans. and he works on the shipping and the delivery side and the sales side. And so, kind of like with me, I actually was an insurance agent for this longest time, like the last 7 years. But over the last 2.5, 3 years on weekends, I've been working at the roastery. So I needed to do that to know the business and understand what I was really getting myself into. It's one thing to say I need to raise money, but how much and for how long is that going to last, and understanding all the expenses and how the flow of the bar needs to go and your register and how your customer interaction has to be and the furniture and just everything. It's all part of the experience.
Wow. So tell me this, right? So, because I know that there's 9.5% of firms in Kansas City are owned by black people, which is a low number compared to 17% in the whole U.S.
Yeah.
Now, what is the struggles that you as a black owner had to go through or still going through in Kansas City to be able to build your business?
So I think one of the things is obviously there's coffee in Kansas City is unique because it's near that bell curve of saturation.
Yeah. Okay.
Where there are small pockets now where coffee's really going to work well. It's not everywhere anymore because you can go to everywhere and find a coffee shop, right?
Yeah,
I mean, corner on corner.
Yes.
And the unique thing about Kansas City, which I love, is the industry and the community and how it supports the two. And so mom and pop businesses in the coffee consumption world in Kansas City is actually above what is typically your corporate accounts. So your Starbucks, your Caribou, your Scooters, more people will choose the locals over the large, corporations.
And stuff,
so the cool thing about that is it creates that avenue for people that are like us to have this opportunity to be in that space and to compete with a Starbucks, because of that love and support. So that's the first thing I noticed is just the coffee consumption, which if you didn't know, it's top 5 in the U.S. for per capita is Kansas City.
Top 5, dang. Yeah. So we drink, not me because I don't drink, but Kansas Cityans drink a lot of coffee there.
Yes, and then I think to answer your question about farmers, that is actually a unique thing that we're actually looking. Black Drip is doing a lot of development in creating relationships with black farmers that are from other countries because we think that there's knowledge there that is not hit here, where even from your back home where you're from, there's probably business owners that own farmland or that own land. There's not a lot of people that try to own land here in the U.S. that are African Americans, unless you're Kanye.
Unless you're Kanye,
right?
Yep. Calabasas.
Right. But I'm saying the uniqueness of it is just the mindset's different, and they don't we don't see ourselves there. And so part of me being there is being seen, right? But the part of, it's working with Black Drip, and there's so many other black roasting companies out there too. Not so many, I would say there's 10 or 12, but the uniqueness of it is just, it's such a niche, small portion. And so, working together, collaborating, we have some really great partners with Messenger, and they're kind of paving the way, not for us, but they're helping us and giving us a lot of guidance. And without them, we probably wouldn't. I mean, we would be able to roast beans somewhere else, but I think their scalability and how their facilities are, which are state of the art, we have more of an ability with. I don't know if you've ever been to the roastery plant.
No, I have not. No,
oh my gosh.
No, I have not.
So I highly encourage you to take a tour. If you ever do, take a tour. And it's because you get to learn so much about the coffee world and how it's important to Kansas City.
Yes.
But that entire situation started out of a guy's basement.
Wow.
In the 80s.
Dang.
And so to just put that into comparison to 40 years of time and where it is now, that's insane. So there's a legend behind that. So
man, all I can say is congrats to all you're doing, and I'm honored to be able to have you on the show to share your story and be able to share the incredible things you're doing in Kansas City. Because it takes courage, it takes a strong mindset to be able to take action the way you're taking and just jumping into it and making things happen. And you are seeing the benefit of it. Hopefully, I know you're seeing it, and you see
it takes.
ripple
I
effect.
think the thing is, the preparation is so important. And I'll just say, like, you know, we were talking about before we got started, like college and education.
Yes.
And it's like interesting where, like, you know, a piece of paper can be $55,000 a year in your pocket, you know, after you get it, you know. Those are very unique things, but the preparation that you receive to be ready for the job in the real world, like that can't be missed, you know. And so preparation in my mind has been like really maybe the last 5 to 7 years getting me ready for this, you know, and here I am.
Dang, man.
So,
well, whew, man, it's been a really exciting and informative episode, man. It's great to have you here. We've come towards the end of the show, but before we end, I always have this section where we call it Fast 5, and then we have Explain This. So Fast 5, I ask you 5 fast questions. You have to answer as fast as possible. Okay. And on this one, I'm actually tweaking a little bit. The 5th question, I'm going to show you a picture of someone you know, and you're just gonna it just the wrong answers only. Okay. Cool. Okay. So are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Here we go. Okay. The first question. Because I know that you are into coffee, so I did questions specific to coffee, sports, so it's gonna be in your area, right? Okay. So what country has the finest coffee beans?
Brazil.
You will see the answer later, but it's close. It's close. Second question. Where did cold brew coffee originate from?
Oh my God.
I got you on that one.
This one might be, you said country or city?
No, what country did it originate from?
Oh man, well then that would mean, I'm just going to say a country in South America, so I'll say Panama.
Panama, okay.
Not wrong.
Close, but not it. What is K-State's football team called?
Kent State Wildcats.
All right, okay, you got that one. That one is close to heart, yes. The fourth question. Who is Kansas City's running back?
Oh, that's Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Okay, all right. I was like, the final section, which is Explain This. I'm going to show you 2 pictures of yourself. You can tell us what is going on in this picture. Oh, boy. Ready?
Yeah. Oh, man. That is on the way to church.
What is going on? What is happening?
And that is me just being bored. You know, like the kid that plays with his food on the table. I get to that point sometimes. So that was that, and feeling inspired at the same time.
Okay. Next picture. What is going on here?
Man.
It seems like you got 2 girls or 3 girls.
I think it was from. It was I was with some friends. It was late at night, and they worked at the mall. That's actually at a mall. Okay. And it was we were playing the song Dougie, and it's like talking about the B word, and so I was like, oh, let me take a picture and be with these girls. And so that's what
chilling with my girls.
Chilling with them.
That's crazy, man. Thank you for coming on the show.
I told you to pick me an embarrassing one. That's a good one right there.
Yeah, so how can people get in touch with you, your coffee, and what you got coming up?
Yeah, so, I mean, you can find Kinship Coffee at Kingship Cafe KC, and you can find that on Instagram. You can find that on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn, TJ Roberts, as well as just Facebook. And my handle on Instagram is 22. My football number, Tej, T-E-E-J. Okay. But yeah, that's the best way to connect with me. And again, I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Like, it's so dope to be on the show. Like you do a lot of great things, man. And I think you have a bright future. Seriously, bro. Like,
thank you.
Very bright future.
I would hope so.
No, I mean, this is not like we were talking. This is not easy work.
Yes,
and you doing it by you doing it just for the love of it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And as long as you continue to keep diving into that and not worrying about what all has happened around here, not worrying about the reactions and the likes, and just keep grinding, man, and trying to be better.
Yes,
if I can get a little bit better, if I can improve this a little bit better, whatever that is. bro, that's where people notice. Okay, I remember when I saw him in his first episode,
Exactly.
and then I see him now on his 500th episode. Like, how many podcasts get to 500 episodes?
Not a lot.
Because they don't have,
So
they don't have
it's
that
consistency.
grit, man, and that consistency. So,
That's
you know,
where
I
it's
hope
at.
you just keep grinding, man, because it's a journey, and you get to tell your story the way you want to tell your story.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
yes.
Not the way everybody else thinks they need to hear it.
Yes.
You know what
yes,
I'm saying?
yes.
Everybody tells you those things because they're like, well, if I was in his story, this is what I would do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it's your story.
Exactly.
So, you know, keep true to that, and then just keep grinding, man, because there's so many people that see this and are getting inspired, and you're doing that, and you're putting a megaphone on it. So
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
I appreciate it. I mean, 100%. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, bro.
Man, I mean, it's not for me, right? It's for people like yourself who are doing awesome things, you know, being able to.
Selfless, like,
you know,
selfless leaders. That's the world needs more of these guys.
You know,
it's like,
it's being able to bring you on and have people hear your story and being able to hear how you got to where you are. Because, you know, TJ is a whole different person. TJ Roberts, like, being able to hear your story inspires me, because I didn't even know all this story about you, but now I know that, you know, you didn't just appear yesterday.
No.
You've been on the grind for a long time.
Still am.
And that people are seeing you still on the grind, right? So it's being
Yeah.
able to share those stories, it inspires me, and I want to be able to inspire other people. So again, thank you for coming.
KC.
Let's go. FiredUp KC,
Hit him
man.
up, man. Fired up.
Thank you guys for tuning in today. It's another episode of FiredUp KC, and always it's your host, Zikwanganga. And you know where to find us. Go to firedupkc.com and go to Instagram, YouTube, Spotify at FiredUp KC. Do not miss out. But you know what to do. Stay fired up, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye for now.